Howdy do. So disclaimer, the comments are locked, and that's to help me moderate things like racism, sexism, peer hatred, but otherwise your comment will probably be approved 100%, especially because things like critique, feedback, and stuff are welcome. So, with that said, moving on. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the difference, in my opinion, solely my opinion, between trash talk and straight up toxic talk, and what that means. Because what I think that means is, yes, I get why trash talk exists, right? You want to trash talk your opponents, you want to try and get into their minds, mess up their game, and get an advantage on them. Because maybe, for example, if you're in the top lane, and you're duoing with your jungler, right? Maybe the enemy top laner is also duoing with their jungler. So both sides have a lot of synergy, both sides know what they're doing. The only way you're going to get an edge is if you're straight up just better than them at skill. And if you're not, then you're in something of a situation where you might be in a stalemate or even get behind. So the only way to either even the ground or push it into your advantage would be trash talk, and I do get that, right? But I think some people fail to understand that there is still a difference between trash talking somebody and straight up being toxic. And for some reason that line is like muddied and grayed, and people want to excuse toxic stuff as trash talk. And no, that's complete, that's no. You have a brain, you know what you're doing. Toxic is toxic, it's not trash, okay? Trash talk, for starters, that's something that's very easy to get inside an opponent's head and still keep it in the game, keep it in bounds. You don't have to bring in somebody's mother into it. You don't have to talk about how you hope to get some sort of terminal disease. You don't have to go. There's certain lines you don't have to cross and still get inside your opponent's head. Still do the trash talk. But people want to excuse like toxicity as like a form of trash talk, the best form of trash talk, if anything. It's like, no, it just makes you look like a scumbag person if it's completely honest here. Like, there's a reason you get banned when you say toxic stuff. It has nothing to do with Riot Light being, trying to turn League into like a kindergarten playground or anything. It's like, no, hold yourself responsible. You know what you're saying. You know what you're doing. Don't blame Light because you decided to be a scumbag and then you got banned for it. Like, he's not sitting around hacking computers and like typing in toxic stuff for people so that he can then ban them. You're doing it. You're doing the action yourself and you know it. So I get it though. In the heat of the moment, sometimes you get more angry than you mean to be, right? Like in the example I gave, that kind of trash talk is when you're level-headed and you're just trying to get an edge on your opponent. When you're actually angry, more anger stuff comes out, and I do get that. I understand that. And I'm not really excusing that, but I do get that is something that will happen though, for some people. They'll cross the line because they're in anger, and it's just like, you know what? I just got to put this guy on the ground because I don't like this situation that's going on, and I do understand that, but you're playing a game where you might only come across this enemy once for like maybe 40-minute game, and you might play thousands of League games again and never see them. And so why put yourself in a position where you might be banned over this one person in this one game when you could mute? Mute, I think, is a very underrated feature in League of Legends. As if the worst thing about the League community is its toxicity, then you think the mute button would be something short of like God in terms of League itself, because you could just mute them and you'll never have to talk to them. And I know sometimes it's hard to either walk away or let them have the last laugh or last word or whatever, but at the end of the day you have the last laugh because you got through that. You get to play a bunch more League games and never have to worry about them again potentially. And if they cross the line, maybe even they get banned, and then because you didn't engage, you had the strength to mute them, you get to continue playing League and just enjoy like your time. But I do want to emphasize, like, I do get it though. Like, sometimes someone says something and you just gotta, get back at them. And it's not, always so easy to say, I'm gonna get back at you by just not, getting banned and ha ha ha, right? Like, if you can't beat them in the game physically, you want to at least, like, say something that hurts them. You want to, like, make sure if they stabbed you, you stab them. Because sometimes maybe you're getting dumpstered by your enemy opponent in a lane and you can't get back at them that way. Or because you just have an AFK and it's a 4-on-5, you just know you're not going to win. It's a slow choking out and they're just being such rude people. And I do get it. That does suck. But at the end of the day, again, you got to be held accountable for what you do as well. So make sure what you do on the Rift isn't something that you would regret, like emailing your mother about. Like, the somewhat rule, not really rule, it's more like a guideline that I have going towards this was, if you wouldn't say it to your mother in a friendly game of Uno, then just don't say it in chat. And you can't see because this is audio, but I put quotes around friendly because for those of you who know what Uno is, that can get surprisingly competitive and angry. But at the same time, there's still certain lines you wouldn't cross in that game. Try and apply that to League. I know it's not easy. I'm not saying, I'm better than you because I can do it and you can't. I'm not saying you're like a loser or something if you can't do this either, by the way. I'm just saying, if that's something that's really a problem for you, and you don't want to get banned, and you don't want to, there's maybe some methods or something, maybe I say in this video, just out there, that might be able to help you, avoid stuff like that. And that's really why I'm making this video. Maybe something in this video might resonate, it might help for you going forwards, where maybe you do want to be competitive and you do want to do the trash talk, but you don't want to get sucked into the toxicity and sucked into the blurred line of somehow toxicity and trash talk are the same thing, when they're really not. They're really not. Don't try and excuse toxicity as trash talk. I do get it's part of the game. Heck, for all the people saying, that Light's trying to turn League into a kindergarten playground, they do have taunts. Some champions have specific taunts to each other. All champions have just specific taunts, period. You do have ways to, even in-game, use your champions to taunt other champions. You can use, I think it's Control 2, I believe it is? Because I don't know about the slash commands, but I do know Control 2. There are taunts in the game, so it's not like they're 100% against taunts and like banter and stuff like that. It's just when you take it over a line, there's a line you should not cross, right? And like I said, you have a brain, you know what that line is, so just make sure not to cross that, okay? Alright. Now, I don't think I'm going to have to follow up with anything after this. I don't even know if anyone's even going to see this video. My videos aren't that great anyway, but, hopefully this, if nothing else, I'm not trying to call out toxic people. I'm just trying to maybe say something that might help people differentiate trash and toxicity and maybe help them not get banned for some reason, Again, the mute button is amazing in my opinion. I think I already did a video on that, so there's no point going into it more now and just wasting more time. This video is already 7 minutes long. So that's all for this video. I don't know what the next video is going to be, because life is full of a lot of kinks. But until next time, take care. GG, get jinxed.